Hello, I'm Reverend Kenny Callahan, the pastor of Metropolitan Community Church of Richmond. The sacred text for this coming Sunday's service is taken from Philippians, the 3rd chapter, verses 4 to 14. In many ways, I find the Apostle Paul a complete mystery. But one thing is clear to me: he never lacks passion. The amazing thing about Paul is how his compassion completely turned around when he met Jesus on that dusty road from Jerusalem to Damascus. After meeting Jesus, everything Paul says and does is about his devotion and his growing understanding of and relationship with Jesus. And that's what happens when you have an overwhelming, life-changing encounter with God. Everything changes. What we think about God, ourselves, and others changes. Paul's confidence is the first thing that changes. Before meeting Jesus, he has confidence in his upbringing, in his pedigree, so to speak, his education, his legacy, and his experiences. Confidence in his willpower to keep the rules. He even had confidence in persecuting the church. But something happened. His confidence shifted. His balance sheet changed when he met Jesus. What is gain for Paul becomes loss. What was foolishness became foundational. For Paul, new insight was gained through spiritual living. Paul is clear that there's a better confidence to have, God confidence. Sometimes I think that Paul's intense passion and confidence can be a little crazy making, until I realize that his intention and purpose is to help people understand that God is not relative. He's saying, listen, people, pay attention. God is real. This is important. And God is the most real thing that you'll experience in your life. I believe that we modern day people of faith are called to have the same kind of boldness that Paul had. Bold in our relationship with God because God is bold in love towards us. Paul is reminding us to be bold in our passion and our relationship with Jesus, to hold a gentle confidence that we are loved, knowing in the core of our being that God's love for us is unwavering, not an inferior confidence that cracks and crumbles with the realities of life. It's hard for us to reconcile and compare our faith with Paul's faith. While we don't want to be just like Paul, we want to be ourselves. There's something that we can learn from Paul. Paul found something in Jesus that encouraged and called him to give up his life as he knew it. In many ways, Paul's faith was made up of things that he gladly forfeited: his title, his reputation, his professional friends and community standing. He gave up and worked through his need to control, his anger, his insecurities and brokenness. He forfeited a steady income and warm beds on most nights, but most significantly, he gave up his desire at designing his own life. He gave up careerism for calling. He gave up the fantasy of independence for the truth of interdependence on God. He allowed what was in his head about Jesus to enter his bloodstream, his calendar, his relationships, even his checkbook. His way of living was changed. He took on Jesus' spirituality and simplicity of living. He became a scandal by following Jesus, the scandal. For Paul, the spiritual path of knowing Jesus brought profound meaning to his life and hope for a different new life. This is what Paul strives for. And as he has left behind who he was to cling to who Jesus had made him to be. And I wonder, in what ways does our faith resemble Paul's? And if not, why not?